Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing well. A Costco insider, namely the CFO of the company, has just revealed exactly why he believes we are going to see a recession very soon. This looming indicator that happens in grocery stores, it is an event that happens that when the mind has been shifted of the consumer has literally said, this is normally what I eat, this is normally what I enjoy. Now I'm doing something different. Why? Because they do not have the money. They are trying to save money anywhere possible. And right now, this is what is going on at Costco. This story is from The Hill, and it's entitled Costco Shoppers Are Shifting Away from a Specific Item. The CFO says it's an indicator of recession. Costco shoppers were less often choosing to purchase beef or steaks from the store's meat departments in recent months, a trend indicative of a recession or at least a concern for a recession, according to CFO Richard Galanti. Galanti, speaking with investors in a third quarter earnings call last week, said more shoppers were choosing less expensive cuts of meat instead. Now, let me stop there and remind everybody that a couple of quarters ago, Costco had actually came out in earnings calls and said the consumer has now changed. And they talked about how the consumer was now spending more money on necessities, food and clothing, and they had stopped spending money on electronics and fun things, right? And that was the beginning. Now you're seeing the consumer get even tighter with their spending. They're still spending the majority of their dollars at Costco on the necessities, food and clothing, but now they are being even more choosing with what they buy. And if your Costco is like mine, beef is expensive. So a lot of people are choosing lesser costing cuts of meat because they're trying to cope with this inflation. Now it says here, historically, we've always seen, like within fresh protein, we've always seen when there's a recession, whether it's 1999, 2000, or '08, '09, and 10, we would see some sales penetration shift from the beef to poultry and pork. Galanti said in a third quarter's earning call last week, we've seen some of that now. He also said that he heard from a fellow executive at Costco that was this former executive was seeing some switch even to some canned products like canned chicken and canned tuna and things like that. That's a really, really big indicator. When you're starting to see, it's one thing to go from beef to chicken. It's another thing to go from fresh produce to canned. That's a very important thing. Now, with that being said, I think I'm a real big proponent of people stocking up emergency food. So if people are doing that and that's why the canned meat's going, I'm all for that. But I do not think that's the case because by and large, most people in this country are not preparers. They're not preppers. They're not ready for something big, something bad happen. They wait for the government to tell them when we're in a recession. I believe we're already in a recession. And since Joe Biden and the Biden White House has decided to change the definition of a recession, they just haven't hit that official one yet. We are there right now, right? Just like the CFO said, we've seen the last time this happened was during 2000 and 2001, then 2008 to 2010. That's the last time they saw that. Well, this is already happening, which means we are in a recession. But because they have changed the definition, we're not in a technical recession. Now, just throwing this out there too, and sorry I digress, but I'm going somewhere with this. Can you imagine when the news articles finally hit CNBC and Yahoo Finance? It's official, we're in a recession. When people actually hear that, remember, faith comes by hearing, they're going to clam up even more. People that weren't, your friends and family that didn't listen to you, and now all of a sudden are going to go, oh my gosh, Bill was right. Josie was right. Sadie was right. Oh my gosh, we are in a recession. And they're going to clam up their spending. And it is going to make that snowball falling down the hill accelerate and get even bigger, faster, right? It's going to be a mess. So you're literally seeing this right now in literally one of the nation's largest food retailers. Now, products from Kirkland Signatures, Costco's private label, we're also seeing increased interest over name brand items. Okay, so that's another big thing. So people are choosing to go with the Kirkland brand over the name brand. So they are trying to save money every single place. It is official. We are in a recession. Galante's remarks came in response to a question about the company's softer numbers on fresh food sales. So, again, remind you, months ago, Costco was coming out saying the consumers shifted away from discretionary items. They're not buying TVs. They're not buying extra computers. They're trying to keep these things going, right? They're not buying the patio covers. I mean, hey, do me a favor. Throw down one item from Costco if you had any limitless money that you'd want to buy that you just have been waiting because you don't have the money for. I just always like that stuff. For me, it would be the huge, big old Traeger. I really like barbecue and I want those, but I would never pay that much for them. But they already talked about that the consumer went away. Now the consumer is literally trying to pinch every penny out of their food budget. And I think the next phase is literally just canceling Costco memberships. And the reason why I say that is because Costco isn't the cheapest. In my area, there's much cheaper places to buy beef. My local Albertsons, I just bought ribeye steaks for $7.99 a pound on sale. The going price at Costco seems to be like $12.99 a pound. So I don't know why people tell me all the time, like, oh, look at all this money I saved because I bought a big old thing of ribeyes and I cut them up myself. So I saved like 20%. I'm like, I paid $7.99. I just waited for the sales and I stock up and stock my freezer. But that's what I think is coming next. People just literally walking away from Costco and dumping the membership because not only is their stuff a little bit more pricey in some instances, but then they've got that additional membership cost. And I think that's something that they're going to start watching carefully. Now, he insisted, or instead said, the company's recent dip in average daily transactions, down 4.2% worldwide and 3.5% in the US, was attributable to fewer customers making big ticket purchases like home furnishings or electronics than during the 2 years of outsized growth Costco saw during the pandemic. Again, you can't even compare what we saw in the last 2 years with anything in history. There is nothing to compare it to. Despite the drop in large discretionary purchases, Costco's sales of big ticket items were still better than competitors, he claimed. Our negative is not as negative as others out there, he told investors and analysts. A representative of Costco did not return a request for further comment on the prices, but it says here, Costco's observations likely don't come as any surprise to economists. The fluctuating prices of meats in particular have been subject to analysis since the early days of the pandemic. After initial rises in prices, the cost of beef had actually dropped a bit by the late summer of 2022, in part due to reduced demand for premium cuts. And that there is the entire story of economics. Remember, when you have more supply than demand, prices fall. And that's what you're going to see in other aspects of the economy too. Right now, we're still seeing heightened demand, especially for people that are preparing because they're buying up in bulk because they know that if they buy today, they're going to save money literally 30, 60, 90 days down the road because the Federal Reserve has not gotten in chart on top of inflation. So guys, I hope you got something out of that. It's a great indicator that we are in a recession right now. Put down below if we think we're in a recession or we're not. Either way, we can still be friends. I hope you guys have a great day. The Economic Ninja is out.